As you know, the Sunday scriptures are composed, so the gospel that we choose for that cycle, this is Mark's cycle, somewhat reflects or is reflected in the First Testament, or the first reading, which is the Old Testament reading, today, Book of Deuteronomy. And then we have the supplemental reflection, the second reading, which directly nothing to do with the other two readings, but sometimes it's a kick unto itself. It's a message unto itself. But I'm not preaching about this, but I got to talk about this. I mean, really. You got to realize that when Paul was writing his first letter to the Corinthians, they thought that Christ was going to return within their lifetime, the imminent return of Jesus. Okay? So just imagine if we knew the end of the world was coming. This is not hysterical, but we imagine the end of the world is coming. And with us, because we're believers, Jesus is coming. Now, we'd be excited, I guess. We'd be ready. We'd, clean up our lives and go to him and all that good stuff. But Paul's admonition was to hold on, folks, don't do anything. Now, I agree with what he's doing. I wasn't there, but he's saying, don't change your way of life, just hold on to what you're doing and all this and all this. And he's talking to early Christians. But let me tell you, does this bug you when you hear a married man is anxious about the things of the world and how he may please his wife? Well, I guess I shouldn't ask you to raise your hand, but how many married men here are anxious about how to even more please his wife than he is now? Don't raise your hand. Oh, that's nice. Somebody pointed to her husband, and you admitted it. Okay, too. Okay. So there are some of you, which is balanced, though. Don't forget, Paul is realizing the significance of marriage and how a man married to a woman, his focus should be his wife and his children, and the ways of the world. In other words, have a job and have food on the table and all that good stuff. But so Paul will say, hold off on that. Don't get so excited about that. God is coming. He's going to come soon. He's going to be right here. So don't get another job. Don't go for a raise. Okay. And then the women. Now this is really great. An unmarried woman or a virgin is anxious about many things of the Lord, so that she may be holy both in body and spirit. That would be great if our unmarried men and women were concerned about the things of the Lord. All our young people, if they were concerned in their lives about the things of the Lord and put the things of the Lord in perspective. I'm not condemning, I'm not giving you great insight, but go online, look at the TV sitcoms, look at all that stuff that's going on. Never are young men and women depicted, I want to say never, maybe they are. Most of the time, young men and women are not depicted as being faithful people in their faith, their religious faith. I don't care what faith you are, but we're Christian. Faithful to God and choosing their boyfriend or their girlfriend or going out to have good times with the concept of God first, and then me and my relationship, and then me and my boyfriend, my girlfriend. It would be great. It would be great. I mean, I think I'm going to give that page out to everybody who's unmarried and who's in that role of life right now. God first. That's what Paul is telling us. God first. Now, he had this great idea that unmarried women were just anxious about the Lord and nice things like that. And how to be holy in body and spirit. Okay, married women, on the other hand, she's anxious about the things of the world, even to today, and how she may please her husband. Okay, girls, raise your hand. How many of you are anxious about how to please your husband better? 2. That's right. Some are here with their arms folded. They're not raising their hands. Why? Because she's married to an Italian, and he rules the roost. So I've been to their house, so I know what it's like. Okay. Now I want those phrases to get into our heads and realize God created us. So I think he wants us, God created us, and he wants us to be happy with our state of life. Not giggly happy, but content, fulfilled with our state of life. Single, married, young unmarried, unmarried man or woman, married men, married seniors, it doesn't matter. Wherever we are, we're challenged by the scriptures, and a reminder, be content with your life. Enjoy your life. Do well. God's first, but then know where your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your children, where they fit in the whole picture. And that sounds like really religious. Of course, the priest is celibate, so he's going to say God first. But I have friends, I have family, I have people I love in my life. God is first for all of us. I shouldn't say. God should be first for all of us. We've got this great gift, the Son of God in the flesh. And he teaches us how to really get into life and love life. And for that, now we go into the scriptures of the day, he was criticized because he did something that all of us are invited to do, but he did it. What did he do? The people were astonished at his teaching because he taught them as one having authority, not as the scribes. Now, you've got to go to who the scribes were. The scribes are those who copied the scriptures. And they copied them on their vellum, so they knew every word of scripture, every accent, every comma. They knew all those. So they knew the law. They were the theologians of the day. You want to know something about the law? Go to a scribe. You want to know something about the Catholic Church? Go to a theologian. That's an analogy. But Jesus did something else. He got the teachings of the faith, and he lived the teachings of the faith. And he taught them with a new kind of authority. And you and I know where that authority came from. He is the Word made flesh. So just imagine the scriptures are made up of words. Jesus is the Word made flesh. So not only did he know the scriptures, he imbibed them. He was probably like a rabbi. He probably studied with the Essenes, we believe, because he had a great deal of knowledge about the Old Testament. But not only did he be the authority, he lived it. And that got him in trouble, as you know, left and right. He lives out the fulfillment of the book of Deuteronomy, which was written well after Moses, but the second book, it's called the second law, Deuteronomy. He lives it because in the prophecy of Deuteronomy was, one day the Lord's going to raise somebody up from among us. And they did, in time, see that person raised up as Jesus. We who have faith say, yeah, God rose him up. God took him from among us, not us in New Jersey, but us on earth. He got one of his own, born in the flesh, his own word becoming flesh of Mary. And that's the Lord who knows God inside out. And that's the Lord who gets in trouble all the time because he knows God inside out and lives him. How many times they try to kill him, or make plans to trap him up, or even today criticize him. Who does he think he is with such authority? He wasn't educated, didn't have a degree in scribology, or he wasn't one of the Pharisees, he wasn't of the in crowd. Now let's go to our own church. You know, our Pope is being criticized so many times because he's doing this. He's teaching with authority and not just standing back and teaching and giving directions. He's throwing himself into it. Politically, globally, religiously, criticizing his own church, criticizing his own bishops at times, criticizing those who sin, those who make errors, those who take advantage of people, criticizing them, putting himself right on the line. Talk about counterculture. Jesus was a countercultural theologian from his day. Francis is the counterculture theologian for our day. Don't forget, it was Francis who, as soon as he became Holy Father, criticized one of the negativities in our church, and that was he called them careerists. Priests who want to advance in their career in the church with the colors, the Monsignor, the bishop, the hats, and the staff. I'm not, obviously, bishops are important. They're descendants of the apostles. Our church is one, holy, and apostolic, built on the history of the apostles, yes. But sometimes God doesn't make mistakes, but sometimes those who are called to a role like a priest or religious or a bishop or the other stuff, let it go to their heads, and they become the new scribes. They know all the rules. They can quote everything. They're number one on the line to go ahead. And the poor, and the hungry, and the possessed, they're left aside. All? No. But I think we all know in our own church, in our own family, we could look at that and we could say, those careerists are acting like scribes. They know all the rules, but they won't lift a finger to help. So Jesus comes on the scene and really, again, I say this often, he gets under the skin of the people. He really does. And they question, who is this? His followers didn't know who he was. The scribes didn't know who he was. The Pharisees may have got an idea, but they didn't care who he was. Who recognizes Jesus? Il diavolo, the devil. I know who you are. You are the Son of God. The devil recognizes Jesus. How important that is for us to know. Once you see Jesus, you know him. And once we see Jesus, we have to attach ourselves to him and use him as our guideline. How to run life, how to respect people, how to interact socially and sexually with family members and partners. Once we have Jesus as the Word of God made flesh, we know what to do. But so does the devil. And sometimes it's easier for the devil to see Jesus and push us away, distract us. The devil doesn't want you to see Jesus. The word Satan, we all know Satan. Here today it's called an evil spirit. The word Satan means block. Satan blocks us from God. And that's why I often tell people, and my word isn't last, but I often tell people, when you are tempted, when temptation is right there, alcohol, drugs, promiscuity, theft, when you are tempted, don't negotiate with Satan. Satan will win because Satan is bright. Satan recognized Jesus. Followers of Jesus didn't recognize him at that point yet. And the in crowd, the politicians, did not recognize Jesus. But Satan did. So when we're tempted, think of what the temptation is. Pornography, sex, money, infidelity, drugs, alcohol, and the list goes on and on. Run from Satan. Turn around and go to Jesus. Don't ever say, oh, maybe one little peek, or maybe one little flirt, or maybe one little dollar here. No maybes. Because the devil will get you. All of us. The devil will say, God, help yourself. Nobody's looking. Put it in your pocket. Nobody's looking. You're at the bar. Buy her a drink. Nobody's looking. One snort. Nobody's looking. It's just you and your buddies. It's the devil. And the devil knows us. He's intelligent. He was called Lucifer, the light bearer, the most beautiful of the angels, and was thrown out of heaven because he said, I will not serve God. So we can't serve the devil either. We have to go inside, and as the Paul's letter to the Corinthians say, put God first in our lives. Get to know God better and better every day. No one of us knows him completely. And that goes from the Pope down to the youngest kid in our church. No one knows him completely. It's a lifelong voyage, a lifelong relationship, commitment to know Jesus in our lives so that we can say, not as Satan said, not as the evil spirit within the stricken man said, we can say, I know who you are, Jesus. You are the Holy One of God, and I follow you.